Hello, and welcome to today's daily news report, where I cover all the biggest stories affecting your life and money. You watch this channel each day because I keep you in the loop on what's really going on in Washington, D.C. with President Biden and the U.S. economy, so let's jump right in. The S&P 500 went up 1.2% today, which secures a decent win for the stock market after so many days of losses. But why the sudden jump? The major reason is there are more people losing their jobs. What? This is totally counterintuitive, right? So this may seem counterintuitive, but Harris Financial Group's managing partner, Jamie Cox, said this may be the data that the Federal Reserve is looking for when it comes to raising rates or avoiding a recession. They said, the data are finally moving in the Fed's direction. It's never a good thing to see layoffs, but the pressure on wages may now have peaked. Simply put, this could be an indication that the end of the wage price spiral has been reached. The wage price spiral is when workers demand higher wages due to inflation raising costs of living. But when they raise that price in order to cover the expense of paying their employee more money, they raise prices on their customers. Then people become jobless and it ends up in this crazy spiral where, well, now they are saying, hey, we don't want to put out any kind of false hope. This may not be the market hitting its bottom and going back up, but this could be the data point the Federal Reserve is looking for to see if the actions they are taking are having a positive effect on the economy. My heart goes out to those that have lost their job, but again, I'm just telling you data points from the news today. After the Biden administration reportedly sent oil from our strategic reserves to China, Fox News host Tucker Carlson is now calling for the impeachment of Joseph Robinette Biden. Carlson said, as gas prices set records in this country, as American citizens who were born here and vote here and pay taxes can't afford to fuel their own car, the Biden administration is selling off our emergency oil reserves to China. That's not an indictable offense. It's certainly an impeachable one, and they should impeach him for it. So basically, Tucker Carlson at Fox News is calling for the impeachment of Joe Biden for selling our emergency supplies to China instead of to United States citizens. To make matters worse, Carlson argued that the United States is helping Russia by not buying oil from Russia, because that has led to an increase in prices which China and India are willing to pay. In fact, Russia has brought in $13 billion more because of these two countries buying their oil. Even if their global numbers are down, their profits have increased. So at the end of the day, Russia has gotten healthier economically because of us not buying oil from them. Or in other words, by not buying oil from Russia at contracted prices, Russia went on to make even more money for their war machine, and the United States citizens saw a dramatic increase in gas prices at the pump. Goldman Sachs is taking a cautious but well-researched approach to the coming recession. However, they say if Biden and the Federal Reserve don't play their cards right, they could trigger a severe global recession like we haven't seen in a long time. The truth is the Fed can't raise rates much higher, not because the Federal Reserve isn't willing to siphon off every penny you own without losing a night of sleep, but because the United States federal government is the number one entity that owes them money. During the Jimmy Carter crisis, rates jumped to 20%, but the United States back then only had just over $900 billion in debt. Today, we now have 30.5 trillion with a capital T in debt, and the United States can't make their interest payments if interest rates continue to climb. Which kind of begs the question, why would the Federal Reserve, if they're so smart, continue to lend money to a bankrupt entity that cannot pay their monthly interest bills, right? Like, you and I don't get additional credit cards if we're terrible at paying our bills, right? But the United States government, they just keep giving them money. which is one reason why I've started buying more gold and physical silver, and I'll be doing videos about why I'm doing that and why you should too. The US dollar cannot hang on forever. Now, according to The Hill, the Secret Service has officially said the January 6th bombshell testimony from Miss Hutchinson's is false. They said Trump wasn't in the limo that day. He was in an SUV. They said he did not reach over the divide and grab the steering wheel from the Secret Service agent, nor did he attempt to choke his security detail agent out. These stories are completely fabricated, and her testimony is third party because she's telling you what someone told her, right? So they're now coming out officially as an organization and saying these stories are made out. However, I still see today, this morning, on CNN and MSNBC, that they continue to push this story as true, even though the very people and organization involved say it's totally false. So I'm going to let you decide, did Trump try to choke out his Secret Service agent, the person who risks his life every day to save him? Did he reach over the wall and grab the steering wheel? And he wasn't even in the limousine. He was over in an SUV. So you're going to have to decide. But according to CNN and MSNBC, this bombshell testimony is absolutely bulletproof and will send Donald Trump to jail. Now, Boris Johnson, the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, suddenly resigned today. He said he will finish out his term but won't seek re-election and will leave politics. It's not super clear why the head of one of the bigger world governments just suddenly stepped down, but it seems there was a lot of scandals because of COVID and people that he nominated, to the point where he's saying, listen, I've lost the faith of the people and I'm going to step down. Too bad that's not happening here, right? I mean, all the stats show that Biden has lost the majority of faith of the American people, but I digress. All right, now speaking of government dysfunction, this is really interesting. A new anonymous survey from Capitol Hill staffers in D.C. that work for members of Congress on the Republican side and the Democrat side, right? These are the men and women that are quietly doing all the work of members of Congress. They anonymously said that only 24% of them believe Congress is functional and working for the good of the people. Only 24%. The other 76% say that Congress is completely dysfunctional and does not work for the good of the American people. Now, as you dig in, the Democrat staffers were even more jaded about the lack of government support for people than the Republican side. That shocked me. I thought it would be the other way around. So, because they were able to answer privately and anonymously, they're saying, listen, behind the scenes, there's a lot of ugly political fighting, and the U.S. government, those that run Congress, are completely dysfunctional. Crazy, right? I mean, wow. All right, women's basketball star Brittney Griner, who is currently stuck in Russia, has pled guilty to drug possession. Griner was arrested after a vape cartridge was found in her possession and has since been pleading for President Biden to aid in her release. She's basically locked in a Russian prison. After sitting in a Russian prison for 4 months, Biden and Harris finally spoke to the wife of Brittney Griner and stated that they are trying to get her and others trapped abroad back home. This outcry has put heat on Biden, as families are now coming forward and saying that the Biden administration is not doing enough to help trapped Americans get back to their home country. And it's not just this Russian situation. It's Afghanistan, it's parts of Africa, it's other parts of the Middle East. Did you know that there are still thousands of Americans trapped in Afghanistan, yet the news and the White House refuse to publicly acknowledge it? Sad, right? Ugh, can't imagine being trapped abroad. CNN has reported that California's governor, Gavin Newsom, may have just quietly launched his 2024 presidential campaign to oust Joe Biden. Newsom bought $100,000 worth of ads from Fox News to attack potential presidential candidate and Florida Governor Ron DeSantis. In the ad, he stated, "I urge all of you living in Florida to join the fight or join us in California, where we still believe in freedom, freedom of speech, freedom to choose, freedom from hate, and freedom to love." While his intentions are not 100% clear, many believe the low ad spend was simply meant to stir the news instead of actually getting people to move to California. In a world where many Democrats are unsure if Biden will or should run in 2024, it looks like Newsom is moving the chessboard to set himself up to run for president in 2024. What do you think? Do you think the country would benefit from having all the policies of California come across the entire country? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Also, did Gavin Newsom spend $100,000 to poke fun at people in Florida? Or is he really setting himself up to push Joe Biden out of the presidential seat? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Former Russian President Dmitry Medvedev has warned the United States about punishing Russia. He stated that he believes punishing one of the largest nuclear power holders in the world is absurd and could lead to the end of humanity. The threat is meant to discourage America from destabilizing Russia. Right now, we're sending hundreds of thousands of troops to Poland, which sits right on the border of Ukraine and a stone's throw from Russia. And they're saying, quit trying to intimidate us and quit backing us into a corner, or you're going to reap the whirlwind, right? So anyway, Russia has over 6,000 nuclear warheads at their disposal. And so anyway, they continue to poke the bear over there as they try to get them to leave Ukraine alone. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. Now, this is my update for today. As I know more, I will come on and share more. Don't forget, the month of July, Casey and I are giving away $6,000 in cash. 20 of you are going to win $300 in cash. You can spend it however you want, and I'll make sure to leave a link down below. Now, before you go, I want to remind you that you are amazing. I appreciate you stopping by and listening today, sharing this with family and friends. Hey, I'll see you on the next video.